Hello, hello.
Hello. Sorry, just one moment. I've got to switch accounts on my Zoom here, but after I do, Fabrice, would you mind making me co-host?
Yes, I will do that right now.
Wonderful, wonderful. I may have to ask you one more time once I get into the correct account here.
Yes.
All right. Should be.
I think you should be able to share screen, but let me stop share right now.
Wonderful. Thank you so much that I just got that permission. Thank you so much. I'm lovely. Our actresses are here as well. They will be sort of waiting on the sidelines for us to begin our live reading portion. But otherwise, I can go ahead and bring up our PowerPoint.
Sweet.
Lovely, lovely. All right. Can you see that all right?
Yes, I can see that. Yeah,
Perfect.
unfortunately, the music, remember the music won't be able to play
No worries. All good.
the YouTube. Okay, super, super. Okay, we'll wait when people start to trickle in.
Absolutely. No pressure, no rush. If you don't mind, I'm going to grab a drink of water. I'll be right back.
Fantastic.
Hey, come on, we're gonna go sit on the couch.
Jacques, I think you're unmuted.
Oh, let me unmute. Let me mute myself.
Welcome everyone to the second world presentation pitched at Syllable. We are waiting, I think, for Kyle, and we'll begin very shortly. Thank you so much. I'm so excited for this, the Blacktopia presentation. All right, here's Kyle.
Good morning, everyone. Apologies for the delay. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. My name is Berton Brown,
And I'm Kyle Hinton.
and we're the creators of Blacktopia. If you're with us in LA, please email us at the address listed on the next slide to receive a gift bag that will immerse all of your senses from our team. To touch, we've printed copies of our manuscript, screenplay, and story Bible. To see, we've included flyers with QR codes to our virtual pitch deck. To listen, we also have QR codes for our Spotify playlist. To smell, we have sample oceanic fragrances. And last, not least, we've also included the ingredients to our signature cocktail, the Blue-topia. Without further ado, welcome to Blacktopia. My name is Berton Joseph Warburton Brown, but feel free to call me Bear. I'm the son of a registered nurse at the University of Michigan and a veteran. I'm an educated writer-director from Ann Arbor, based in Burbank. I'm an alum of NYU Tisch, where I earned my MA in Arts and Public Policy, and I met Kyle at DePaul University in Chicago, where I earned my BFA in Directing and minors in TV producing and screenwriting. That's also where I directed Kyle's series, Naomi and Levi Take on the World, which is streaming on OTV now. As a Next Up playwriting fellow at Congo Square Theater, my work received stage readings in Chicago, Denver, and LA earlier this year.
Hi, my name is Kyle Hinton. I'm an unapologetically Black non-binary screenwriter from the suburbs of Chicago who aspires to contribute imaginative and intersectional stories to the television landscape through sci-fi, horror, and comedy genres. After graduating from DePaul University with a degree in film and TV production, I have worked on a couple TV shows, most recently the iCarly reboot as a writer's PA, and my horror comedy pilot, The Vampire Prince, won We Screenplays 2022 Diverse Voices Lab, and our web series, Naomi and Levi Take on the World, is streaming on OTV. I like to tackle dark issues, social issues, personal issues with heart and levity because I am over the trauma.
Well, here are some photos from Kyle and I's previous productions and premieres. And our work with Blacktopia began with the central question: what would a utopia look like to you?
So the Black Artists Collective was formed at Syllble to devise these answers. By crafting Afrofuturist narratives that blend technological advances from perspectives inspired by the global majority, we've developed an intersectional sci-fi adventure series where imagination knows no bounds.
Our logline is: at the dawn of the 22nd century, a young Black inventor discovers and protects an undersea queendom from saboteurs inside and out.
And as sea levels rise and society falls, a group known as the Founding Mothers emerged and established their own versions of rivaling utopias. As refugees from the surface flood into Blacktopia, our heroes must demonstrate the necessity of radical, open-minded thinking, rejecting the good and evil binary.
We're currently publishing a micronovel anthology, which will release from 2024 all the way until 2030. After producing the first season of an audio series for the first book this summer, we plan to produce an audio series season for each novella. The first book has been adapted into a half-hour animated pilot, and it is our goal to have it picked up as an animated or live-action limited series.
And since the formation of the Black Artists Collective, many strikes have changed the shape of our team, but nevertheless, the story has been watered by their ideas, namely Brandon Peterson, who was writer for Grand Crew. He said something to the effect of playing with the stereotypes that Black people can't swim. And so we wanted to build off this fantasy that not only can we swim, but we could rule the sea.
Mm.
And so our mission, having carried this project so far, is to open a continued expansion. As radical artists who prioritize accessibility, we see each iteration of our work as a community building action. Our commitment to audience outreach and inclusive practices are reflected in each expansion of our writers group to the diversified mediums on all platforms.
Insofar as rating, influenced by successful shonen such as Naruto and One Piece, Blacktopia's target audience are teenagers and young adults of color from 13 to 24. With colorful dialogue and off-screen violence that pushes up against a PG-13 rating, we challenge restrictions around mainstream content.
The setting is our planet at the dawn of the 22nd century, from 2095 to 2105. Upon the collapse of civilization due to the rising oceans in the late 21st century, leaders known as the Founding Mothers led various parts of the world towards building their own unique versions for a utopia.
Mm. The high concept combines locations of One Piece, such as Amazon Lily and Fishman Island, with the lovable characters and expansive plot in stories like Avatar: The Last Airbender, Legend of Korra, and Invincible. The themes of this story explore a growing movement of people building a better way to exist because our society has fallen so far. People of color are establishing an Afrofuturist underwater queendom where sustainability is maintained by any means necessary. And on every continent, various demographics of people are racing to create alternate forms of futuristic societies with colorful characteristics.
And yet, a fascistic secret society made up of colonizers banded together under the moniker the Porcelain Hand has decided to start an off-planet colony. Alternatively, a movement led by the global majority known as the Founding Mothers builds underwater utopias such as Blacktopia. The Porcelain Hand finds ways of sabotaging the enlightened, forward-thinking people of Earth to keep their oligarchy leash on the most vulnerable.
Mm. So this conflict between progression and regression brings us to our main characters. Our hero, Destin Eugene Imani, born in 2069, is a 27 to 33-year-old Capricorn. He's an African-American inventor, taking refuge in the Sahara. In Swahili, Imani translates to belief or faith. Destin is the masculine form of destiny. Thus, the epistemology of our hero's name is faith in destiny. While his parents traveled to complete espionage missions, Destin and his sister Epiphany were raised in a refugee BIPOC camp scattered across the Southeast United States. Mentored by an ecologist, Dr. Richard Brown, Destin became an inventor. When their home was ransacked, his genius helped his sister and their friends flee the continent. After crossing the desert, Destin became a lead scientist for a solar punk society known as Moon Root Village, until he was captured by the Porcelain Hand. At the start of our story, years later, Destin escapes the Porcelain Hand and discovers Blacktopia. By protecting the Blacktopians, Destin grows closer to finding and protecting his own family. Epiphany Imani is Destin's younger sister, born less than a year after the fall of the United States in 1977. She never knew a world without chaos, yet she became a confident, clever, and well-read queer. The seasons of strife in her early life set the stage for her to become an articulate organizer in the Sahara alongside Destin. Selena Imani Brown, born in Crown Heights, Selena's family escapes the violent insurrection known as the Ruthless Uprising in 1977. Her father, Emmanuel, and grandfather, Doc, were the only survivors by the time she reached the Imani's refugee camp in Atlanta. 1 year later, it was Emmanuel and Doc's sacrifice that allowed the next generation to sail across the Atlantic to Moon Root. Ooh, oh no. Well, I'll just talk about the next character while I bring the PowerPoint back. Yes, Trip Imani is Destin's Achillean lover from the past, meant to foil Destin and Dawn's relationship. Dawn is the royal tutor in Blacktopia. Trip met the Imanis when they came to Atlanta seeking refuge in 1982. Destin and Trip traveled across the ocean, falling in love along the way. And last of the Imani family is Dante Richard Imani. Dante's name is meant to invoke Dante's Inferno and the journey Destin is willing to go for the sake of the next generation. At the age of 4, Dante developed a fatal tumor that Destin was able to force into remission by inventing a solar-powered set of prosthetics that became a prototype for Blacktopia's technology. He's presumably being held by the porcelain hand in a neo-Soviet prison known as the Box.
And then we have the royal family, starting with Tia Nandi, the royal daughter. The 5th generation of Blacktopia's royal family, Tia was born to Queen Amina and her husband, Commander Douglas. However, when Douglas and his troops went on a mission across the ocean, they never returned. Blacktopia then became an isolationist queendom. Under her helicopter mother's leadership, the once sacred utopia has become a land divided by gender and sexuality. Because of this, Tia is too afraid to tell her mother she is in love with the Oracle's daughter, Zara, earning her nickname, the Royal House Cat. Then we have Amina Nandi, the Queen Mother, where as Tina embodies the potential of our next generation, Amina represents the spirit of our current generations. Amina is the 4th generation of the royal matriarchy. Amina, the 4th generation of the royal matriarchy, has ruled with an iron fist for the past 20 years. By having Amina in a leadership at the beginning of the story, Blacktopia becomes about the improvement of a utopia instead of its deterioration. Then we have Ya Nandi Carter, the founding matriarch. Grandmother Ya is meant to provide the Blacktopians with decades of knowledge from our personal timelines. Even if Blacktopia has slid into something else, she represents what was once a great utopia, and she completes a trinity of radical feminist perspectives and invokes further curiosity into these royals' bloodline origins. Nefertiti, the old oracle, is in ancient societies, oracles are functioned as, spiritual advisors to political leadership. So Nefertiti represents that here, and she's intentionally the only character who comes from the present age of humanity. This gives her advice the weight of experience, even if it seems to be purely spiritual. She's supposed to allow her daughter Zara to take her position years ago, but she still holds on to it with an iron grip. Zara, the oracle's granddaughter, is the royal foil to Selena and resembles a gossipy demeanor of modern psychics. Her age offers the audience hope of a happier ending, and her relationship with Tia offers the audience some lighthearted humor, romance, and wisdom all at once. Zara knows no other society besides Blacktopia, and to Zara, spiritual devoutness is needed, but protecting the people close to you, like her lover, Tia, is more important. Then we have Commander Dalomi, the military chief. Inspired by the structures of historical and fictional African societies, Commander Dalomi is meant to be the 3rd in charge of our matriarchal trinity. Tina Dalomi is a legacy child of military leadership. She has inherited the role from her older brother, Commander Douglas. Then we have Don Quixote, the royal guard and tutor. They is an androgynous foil to Trip. Their role offers a positive, non-binary, and disabled representation. Don's relationship with Destin gives the story elements of intersectional love and romantic tension. Don is the unclaimed child of Commander Dalomi, rejected for their intersexuality and disability. Don was given access to the kingdom's most advanced technology on the condition they served the castle. As a guard and former tutor to the princess, Don has all the tea.
Lovely. And without further ado, let's jump into the plot. That for the pilot, or book 1, the prologue, or cold open in the screenplay, is titled Destin's Dream. Through our hero Destin's dreams, we relive their memories of an Afrofuturist solar punk society in the 2090s, Moonroot Village. This sequence builds to the terrible realization Destin's trapped in a computer simulation that is breaking down. Destin wakes up in 2102, trapped in an underground labor camp controlled by his captors known as the Box. A power outage caused by an unnatural disaster derived from climate change allows him to escape. In the first chapter, or Act 1, titled Descent with an E, representing our hero's journey to our hidden setting, our hero is hunted for 3 weeks by robot hounds, killer drones, and mechanized officers. Cornered on the cliff of Cape Manuel in Senegal, an approaching hurricane creates a vortex in the ocean. So Destin takes a leap of faith into the whirlpool below, discovering Blacktopia. In chapter or act 2, titled Descent with an I to represent the philosophies at play, despite the protest of Tia the princess, Destin is exiled from the queendom for being a surface-dwelling man. Indentured to servitude, Destin meets other disabled, transgender, and non-binary merservants that no longer are welcome in this once utopian society. Through the flirtatious royal guard, Dawn, who found our hero, we meet our first villain, Icarus. Unknown to Destin, Icarus is a double agent from the surface who tricks the other outcasts into arming an insurrection. And in chapter or act 3, titled Discovery, to represent the culmination of the central plot, uncovering Icarus's identity as a double agent from the Porcelain Hand, the cult which imprisoned Destin and his family years ago, Destin nearly loses his life to save the royal daughter during her coronation ceremony. Saved, the daughter comes out with her girlfriend, the Oracle's granddaughter, and emancipates the servants. Destin earns the trust of the queendom and is crowned royal advisor. In the epilogue or tag, titled Destiny, to reflect our proactive call to action in this story, in the royal courtroom, where many of the characters met, the royal daughter's or granddaughter's girlfriend, known as the New Oracle, reveals a family tree discovered on ancient scrolls in the library that include Destin and his family. The old oracle ties singularity theory with degrees of separation to express that Blacktopia shouldn't only offer asylum to Destin and his family, but to everyone seeking refuge.
Okay, and to break down the series arc, the second installment, we have the Kidnapped Queen, where we explore the colorful universe of other utopias outside of Blacktopia when the old oracle is kidnapped
I
by...
believe you can share your screen now.
Isn't that... Is that... Okay. Just back to the series breakdown. The second installment is the Kidnapped Queen, where we will explore the colorful universes outside of Utopia, so the other utopias in the ocean once the old Oracle is kidnapped, and then we have our band of characters leading a search party. In our third book, The Evil Emperor, we meet the arch villain of the entire series, the cybernetic emperor Sozeb, who rules what's left of the former United States with an iron claw. We have book 4, The New Oracle, which is the next generation, where we see the next generation of leaders to return to Blacktopia with Destin's family in tow. And with so many refugees flooding in from the surface, without the old oracle in place, Zara must find a way to bring balance to their kingdom. In the fifth plot, The Mothership Arrives, all hell breaks loose when the Ruthless Republic launches a barbaric attack on Blacktopia and its citizens. And when the new Queen Tia is forced to make some sacrifices, a spaceship arrives, taking them to their new home, or their real home, rather. And then the final iteration of the series so far, the Blacktopians return to Earth, staking everything on an intergalactic war for humanity's freedom. And at the end of the final fight, the Murdoch dynasty and the Porcelain Hand fall so that a new Earth can rise from its ashes. So a little dip or peek into our production timeline. Phase 1, we have the 6-part novella series, which is currently being produced at Syllble Studios. Each part will be published annually from 2024 to 2023, and we plan for book 1 to be published next month in January and available on Amazon.
Phase 2 is an annual audio/radio series. In June 2024, Syllble and Stonehaven Studios will partner to distribute an 8-episode Blacktopia audio series, with the first season adapted from the first novella. This project will extend annually with each iteration of the series.
And then once that phase is completed, we'll go into phase 3, which is our main goal, a half-hour animated series The screenplay adaptation for it has already been completed, and with our pilot, it is our main goal to hopefully get this project picked up by a network such as Adult Swim, or Max, or Amazon, HBO, Netflix.
And phase 4, our final form, would be a live action limited series. Like Avatar The Last Airbender and One Piece, Blacktopia could eventually be adapted into a live action limited series for a premium streaming service such as Max or Netflix. And so, tying into our sequels and the production timeline, I'd love to talk a little bit about the world in 2095. And so, Kyle, would you mind taking this portion on environment?
Yes, globally, the technology has evolved and is futuristic. AI and autonomous transportation is is worldwide. Everyone has access to it. The cultures around the planet are more so thought experiments based around planned technological advancements, such as a Con City, if you have heard of it, taking place in Senegal, $6 billion, of course.
Mhm. And even just taking from, science that we know will play out, unfortunately, it seems by 2095, the ocean levels are expected to rise at least 70 meters, which will change our world map to look like this. And this is the world we've based our story within. In Africa, we explore Blacktopia and Moonroot Village. Before the main story, our heroes lived on the land above Blacktopia in a solar punk society known as Moonroot Village. The living organisms in Blacktopia and Moonroot Village focus on the evolution of humanity through advanced prosthesis in the not-so-distant future. Bioluminescent mycelium, known as Moonroot, illuminates both the desert above and queendom below in nightclub-like neon colors. Blacktopia's undersea matriarchy has been cultivated for centuries and recently adopted a blue topian identity to justify its isolation from Black and brown refugees. Bionic prosthesis allow for humans to wear prosthetic bionic tails that transform into fishtails that transform into bionic legs. Pollution has created glowing sea life and plastic clouds that cause rolling blackouts in the sea that relies on this solar punk technology. Over the course of the story, Blacktopia becomes more populated with refugees from the surface. And I should say other colorful utopias as well. Yet on the surface, we have antagonistic forces, such as in Eastern Europe, good life. As historic cities in the Mediterranean flood, people flee Southern Europe. Closing their borders, the epicenters of Europe dissemble into a neo-dark age. Outside the golden cages of the remaining disparate billionaires, civilized European society has degraded to savagery far beyond the stereotypes once placed on the people of the Black diaspora. Past a great stretch of resourceless land on the eastern portion of the remaining continent, vagabonds cannibalize each other, are kidnapped, or desperately sign their souls away for good life. Emperor Romanovsky, the daughter of an oligarch from the Neo-Russian Revolution of 29, founded an amusement park company town on top of Vladimir Putin's former palace. On the exterior, good life seems like heaven. However, upon anyone's first evening at the park, they are kidnapped and trapped in Matrix-X sleeping pods. While they are trapped in endless dreams, their imprisoned bodies are bled to create and fuel their enslaved clones. These clones from the box protect Romanovsky and the world leaders in the porcelain hand. This is where Destin is kidnapped and taken to in the prologue.
And then we have the Porcelain's Hand headquarters in Western Europe. As Amsterdam, Barcelona, Dublin all flooded, a neo-French revolution arose across the west coast of Europe, spreading across the resourceless wastelands. A secret society of selfish billionaires known as the Porcelain Hand maintain order from their castles. Bribing soldiers and revolutionaries to aid their underhanded efforts, the Hand seeks to monopolize the remaining resources of the planet for themselves. Within their castle walls, royal families of the Porcelain Hand experience utopian bliss, and they strive to convince their followers to ignore the apocalyptic environments happening outside their doors. Then we have Northeast America, which has become a ruthless republic, or the ruthless republic. When New York City and New Orleans sunk into the ocean, the southeastern, well, from New York City down to New Orleans, the whole coast sunk into the ocean, the southeastern United States seceded as a neo-Confederate colony, becoming the CEO who reunited the nation through trade. Jessica Zozeb restructured the Northeast as the Ruthless Republic and immortalized her father Jeffrey's life by replacing his organic flesh with cybernetic enhancements. Losing re-election, the violent insurrection of 77 took place, and Emperor Zozeb permanently took office as the Emperor of America. The Zozeb Empire has maintained control for over 20 years, traveling between his private plantation on Mars and Earth. Emperor Zozeb pulls the strings behind the porcelain hand.
And then
And then finally,
oh yeah, you mind if I take this one?
sure, go for it.
Thanks. All right, so our last continent is Australia, and we have more to share in our story Bible as well. But for the sake of today's presentation, in Australia, there's the Murdoch dynasty. Once Fox News was held liable for spreading misinformation, Robert Murdoch and his family fled to their native Australia. Abandoning all of their fervent followers in the States, the Murdoch dynasty funded a US-Australian citizenship program for disgruntled Americans in the ruthless Republic, the neo-Confederate colonies, or even the New Wild West. The dynasty invested in space travel and was determined to make ground with Martian colonies that rivaled Zozeb. By advertising the opportunity to have free housing on Mars, the dynasty attracted volunteers. The advertising omitted, however, the fact that the housing was on condition of lifelong servitude. Without further ado, we would like to introduce our amazing actresses, Makila Sims and Kayla Janae, for a live reading of Act 2, Scene 1. If you don't mind coming on screen, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Wonderful. All right. Blacktopia, Book 1, The Royal House Cat, Act 2, Descent. Interior, Atlantic Ocean, Blacktopia's Queendom, Night. Dawn Coyote, the non-binary guard from Act 1, has replaced their bionic fishtail with prosthetic legs. Dawn slowly slugs Destin's drooling body out of the castle. They both overhear.
Stand in your truth. If you think that goof could really help us, go back in there and tell your mothers they've gone crazy before it's too late.
I can't. She could push back the coronation again. Soon, I'll be changing the rules around here.
I love you, and I love how you speak up tomorrow. But what about today, Tia? If you're going to be a queen, you can't keep hiding behind the excuses of the elders.
Why don't you stand up to them then, eh?
I wish I could. I love you, but I don't have your privilege. With as little as your mother lets you do around here, you can't even call yourself a royal daughter. Behind your back, Auntie Dalomi and I call you the royal house cat.
Hurt, Tia shoves Zara away as she waddles down the corridor.
Do you have to run away from everything? I'm sick of running. Isn't our love enough to fight for?
Of course it is, Zara. To the moon and back. Most days I feel like I am trapped in the Mariana Trench, but you're a lantern fish guiding me out of the dark. It's just if our mothers knew about us.
I know. They send us away too.
Tia leans in to kiss Zara, but she backs away. Then they notice Dawn. Dawn awkwardly looks away, trying to drag Destin faster.
Do you think the gods saw us?
Dawn? Who cares? The royal house cats? That servant is more likely to understand you than all our moms combined. At least Dawn stands on business and doesn't hide their lovers.
4 other transgender guards who have stitches over their ears open both large doors on opposite ends of the corridor for Zara, Dawn, and Destin as they exit in opposite directions. Tia, left alone, flinches as the door slams shut. She stares out the window like a wild pigeon trapped in a golden bird cage. Fade out. So, thank you for joining us in this presentation. We hope you can join us on this journey as we transform narratives, shatter negative stereotypes, and propel the world into a future where the voices of the global majority are not only heard, but celebrated. Make sure to follow me at Bearton Brown on Instagram for more updates about Blacktopia, and follow Kyle at Kyle X Hinton to get more exclusives about his work and eat. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. We do not have questions and comments part of the section. So this has been an incredible conversation, presentation. We will be cutting off the present. Thank you to the actresses as well for the live reading. Very enjoyed this. And our next presentation will be at 2 p.m., which will be the Faya World. So tune in, and yeah, thank you again.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hey, everyone.
For Syllblecon 2023. Thank you. Blacktopia.